Welcome to another edition of the Hawk Off the Press podcast. I'm your host, Gazette Hawkeyes reporter John Steppe. I'm excited to welcome Renee Gillispie, head coach of Iowa softball, to the podcast this week. Renee, thanks for joining me.
You're welcome. Glad to have you.
So you're having quite the turnaround this year, from 3-20 in Big Ten play last year to 10-13. Certainly quite the jump there. What's been the key to that improvement?
Oh, I think a lot of things. We've got a great group of freshmen that came in. We're very young right now, and at times we have 5 freshmen on the field. So they just came in and was ready to work. Jalen's done a great job on the mound, winning a lot of games for us as a freshman. And then Bree, as a senior, just kind of came back and had a kind of mentality, just that she wanted to have the big games and wanted to go after them. So she's had some great outings this year compared to last year. But I just think it's a youth. There's a little bit of it. It's why we're kind of up and down this year, but it's also what has given us those big wins, because they just love to win.
And probably not a surprise, but another great year for Nia Carter. Yeah. What have you seen her do this year, kind of in terms of taking it to the next level?
Yeah, I mean, she came in this year kind of having really high expectations for herself, which we love. She wanted to be player of the year. She wants to, go out with a bang. And she put a little pressure on herself early on in the season, and she finally got to a point. It's like, I just want to have a good season. I want to have fun. I want to relax and be my best at every moment that I'm playing. And when she did that, it kind of totally changed her mindset. It got her more relaxed at the plate. She got a little bit more patient, not quite as anxious. So all those little things kind of helped her out with just having good at bats and seeing the ball well and just being that leadoff hitter for us all season.
And then you were mentioning having the really young team, having 5 freshmen sometimes on the field at one time. What's been your approach as a coach to get all these players who at this time last year were playing high school softball to get them up to that Big Ten level right away?
Yeah, I think it was just getting them prepared early on. We were in Florida for spring break training, and we kind of did it like a 2-a-days. Got their feet wet with what kind of the season is going to do. It's really a grind of a season. So that's usually what you see freshmen kind of struggling with, because you're on the road for 7 weeks. You don't get a break. It's all softball and studies and no social life. So it's getting them to understand kind of what they're getting into. And that was the biggest piece of it. And the game hasn't changed. It gets a little bit faster, but you can kind of put them in those situations at practice to get them on board with that. And they just came out and just, decided that they wanted to have a great season and did all the little things we asked of them and came out. And even in our first couple games, we had almost, like you said, almost 5 freshmen on the field the very first game of the season. So they proved it in practice. They stepped up. They wanted to be that offensive threat as well as a defensive threat, and they did that.
Was there like an it moment where you realized, wow, this group is really not your average group of softball freshmen?
Well, I think we saw that probably early on in the spring. We saw a lot of talent in the fall. We knew we had a great group of strong athletes and competitors. And then you saw early on, as we went down to Florida, we had some good competition down there. But I'd say that when they finally went up against UCLA and they had a 2-1 ball game against them, and they realized they could play against anybody in the country, you kind of see that spark of them realizing, hey, we are good. We can do this. And you kind of saw a different attitude about them. They weren't freshmen anymore after that game. They kind of took a sense of pride in where they were and what they were doing and how aggressive they were at the plate.
And then you're about to head to the Big Ten tournament. I'm sure it has a nice sound to it. Mm-hmm. So what do you see as the keys here against Maryland at 4:30?
Yeah, we talk all season long about just playing our game, not really focusing on the team that we're going up against. As coaches, we're always strategizing. We know they're going to be fast. They're going to be running the bases. They do a lot of steals and a lot of squeeze plays. They play a lot of small ball. And they have a pitcher that's throwing at 70 miles an hour, but we got a chance to face her twice here at home. And so going into that is just letting them know that we've already seen them. We've already beat them. We already know what we're going up against. And it's just being able to relax and enjoy the moment of being in the Big Ten, but also understand that you've already beat this team. There's no surprises. Just go and play your game. So we're trying to keep it as positive and as calm as possible going into it, because like you said, these freshmen haven't had this experience before. And in fact, besides a senior and maybe 2 juniors have been in the Big Ten tournament. Because of COVID, we didn't go to it our first year. Yeah, in fact, it was our seniors. Our seniors are the only ones that have been in a Big Ten tournament. So for the whole squad, it's like the first time going into it. So it's going to be just keeping them calm, keeping focused. It's the same game, the same field, and just relax and play.
You were mentioning playing Maryland already and beating Maryland already. It seems like April 16th, 14th through 16th wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Do you prefer that when you're playing a team twice in, let's see, 3 weeks, if I can do math, or would you rather have a fresh opponent?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. I was joking with our coaches earlier. I said when I was at UCF and would get into our Big Ten, or at that time was the USA and AAC conferences. When we were playing in those different conferences, it always would be where we would play the last game of the season would be our first opponent in the tournament. And I don't know why that always happened. That I do not like, because you're already seeing them for 3 games and you have to turn around and play them again. And that always kind of fell into that category. So I was kind of surprised that we weren't going to be facing Wisconsin going into the first series on that. So I'm okay with facing Maryland and having a few weeks in between our outings and being able to go after them again.
And then kind of looking long-term ahead, softball has been one of the sports where facility-wise, you could be getting an upgrade soon. How much of an impact would it make if and when the time comes to renovate Pearl Field in terms of attracting that next generation of Hawkeyes?
Yeah, when you talk about facilities, that's what recruits see. We really need to get a new facility. We're doing some renovations to the old Pearl Field. We're actually turfing the entire field so that we can get more games. We actually only have 13 home games in the last 5 years. So it's been really tough. The max is 13 games on this field, and out of 56, it's just not a very good advantage for us. So we're turfing it to try to get more early games on the field. We're trying to get at least 23 home games next year. That'll help out. We're getting the cages kind of renovated also with turf. So they're doing all that at the same time. So we're getting some outdoor cages kind of renovated. And then we're looking to do a new indoor batting cage right now. That's probably down the road a little bit. We're trying to get the turf part done first. But ideally, we're probably the oldest facility in the Big Ten. We talked about building a facility. We have a site already set up aside, but it's all about fundraising and trying to get enough money to be able to actually build a brand new site. And we're behind on that category, but I can't wait to see what the renovations do and just get us a chance to get a little more competitive with getting some more home games.
And then also looking long term, how much can you take from this season, this turnaround, in terms of future years?
Yeah, I really think this is the beginning of where I was going to go. We worked really hard through the 2 COVID years, like every team did. We struggled last year. We lost our 3 senior pitchers last year. So we were rebuilding last year. And this is what you're seeing. These freshmen are the foundation. I'm excited about where we'll be when those players are seniors, because they really are the foundation of Iowa. You look at Jalen on the mound. She's doing an incredible job. Skyland Pogue behind the plate as a freshman. Tori Bennett at shortstop. Anna Streff at second base. Avery at third base. And so you have this strength of this basically your full infield of freshmen, and that's what we're going to build around for the next 4 years. So I'm just excited about it. It's a great base. We're looking forward to getting our first step into Big Ten tournament, and we're looking to whether we're in the postseason this year with NCAA. We're hoping to get in with the NISC this year just to get some postseason experience, and then draw on that and build on that for next year. So it looks bright for the Hawkeyes, and we're looking forward to it.
And I would be remiss if I did not ask about your 4-legged player on the team, the therapy dog, Mally. How's Mally doing?
Mally's doing great. She was actually here when we first got on the vlog. I actually thought she'd get her face in her mug in the shot, but she's doing great. She's traveling with us today. We're heading on the bus in about a half hour, and Mally goes with us, and she's very good. I don't know if it's more for the players than it is the coaches, but she's been a joy to have with us, and actually took her first flight this year. We did a charter flight that she got a chance to fly with us and did great. So she's taking care of us, and we definitely needed her this year just to get through a lot of ups and downs this year. So she's been a good addition.
Were you nervous about the first charter flight for her?
Yeah, I think we all were because we just didn't know what to expect. But she had her seat next to her mom. Erin's her trainer, is my volunteer assistant coach. She takes care of Mally. She's the owner of Mally. So she had her set on the seats right next to her. And when it took off, you saw her kind of getting a little nervous at times, but she settled in and did a great job. And it was kind of good because now we feel like we could look at maybe flights down the road doing commercial flights. She's small enough to sit on her knees, so we just have to get permission now for the university to be able to travel with her on the flights. But yeah, she's been a great addition.
Well, Renee, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So for those looking to tune in to the Big Ten tournament action, that will be at 4:30 on Wednesday on Big Ten Network. And thanks to our listeners for tuning into another episode. Until next time, we will talk Hawks later.